Hi, everybody. Welcome to another New Normal episode. I am your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today's Wednesday, so we are wooing it up with my buddy, The Public Awakening. Played a little clip earlier on the episode. I did a bunch of crypto news. There's a lot going on with some possible early signs of banking collapse. Hit on some, I think it's some early webbot hits. So I'm going to talk to public about those. We'll be right back right after this. You guys give us a like, share the video, and be right back with The Public Awakening. Hey, public. I saw you in the chat earlier on the show. I played just a really quick video. And it's obviously an older video. They're talking about when Trump was president, and they're saying like a year ago when he brought Space Force out. So that would have been, what, 2018 or 2017?
Okay.
Somewhere around there. I'm pretty sure it's a webbot hit when we're hearing more and more about like the distraction of, all the alien news. And I found an old Heidi Vandenberg video interview with Cliff High as well. I thought we might play some of that.
Cool.
I didn't know if you remembered some of that stuff.
I do. In fact, one of Cliff's Alta report front pages had a spaceship on it.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's what I'm remembering.
Mm-hmm.
And those being kind of like markers or timelines in sync or in step with the banking collapse is what I'm remembering.
Yes.
Okay. So this was the video. Let me make sure I'm sharing, because earlier today I was completely muted and had no idea I was by myself. So this is what I was remembering.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose. Well, so far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago, he did set up the Space Force as the fifth branch of the US Armed Forces. Well, we did ask the White House, the Department of Defense, and Israeli officials to comment. So far, they have not responded to the NBC News request.
Alien.
Okay, and so Santa Surfing was the one that, she's back on Twitter, and she was the one that tweeted this out just 8 hours ago, which kind of triggered me, I guess, because she has been kicked off of Twitter, and then now she's back on. And then for her to be bringing this up again, I was like, oh, okay, well, is that a sign? Is that a trigger of, okay, we're back on this timeline again, I guess. And then
Okay.
seeing all that's happening with, you know, around the, what I talked about or earlier on the show with the Bank of America, you know, negative bank accounts, them blaming Zelle. But once again, I brought up the fact that Zelle is used on PayPal, it's used in Chase Bank, a lot of other services, and they weren't having problems. So that's kind of where I was going with that line of thought. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know my thoughts. This is the Woo Woo Wednesday. We have been in contact with the aliens, I believe, since the 1940s, 1950s, probably earlier. There's plenty of stories and information and documents out there about the Nazis meeting with the aliens, getting technology, literally making trips to Mars back then in like super fast. You know, this weren't months long trips. These were like, you know, a few minutes. That were, you know, the moon. You know, we can go back to the movies. I think that I've always said, I think there's a lot of movies that are factual documentaries rather than sci-fi made up, you know, stories. You go back to Star Trek, Star Wars, The Matrix, some of my favorites to talk about as far as that goes. You know, what are they telling us in these movies? Where were the sci-fi movies in the 1950s? What were those stories that they were talking about? You know, Martians, men from Mars, the Red Planet. I believe there's been some sort of disclosure for generations, and I don't doubt any of it. We've heard stories years ago that the United States and the world does have contracts with space critters. They can take X amount of people, disappearing people, you know, where they suck them up in the white light and they go up there and, you know, for harvesting, for trade. You know, one of the biggest trading that's done supposedly up in the space, up in the stars, is humans. Humans are a very high value trade, for our DNA, for slaves, for food. You know, a lot of them, you know,
Speaking of which,
we're a food
there's
source.
been a huge disclosure about Madonna's.
Do you know when that's from? Do you know when those
History.
stories first broke
Oh gosh,
about Madonna?
they're so old.
In the early 2000s is when
they're
those were
back
making
when,
rounds. Reuters was
when
putting it
she
out.
was
The Wall Street
first.
Journal was making
Yeah.
stories about this. You know, not
They're
that
really
that means
old.
it's legit, but they were mentioning it, and that's kind of a big deal.
Oh, which is weird. Now I know I retweeted that, and now I can't find it, which that happens to me all the time. But
You don't say.
it's frustrating still.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's still some control.
I shared it on the Telegram group, a whole thread about it. For if you guys it's in the description of this video. You can go and join the Telegram group for Team Mighty, and I'll share stuff there, or I'll put it on my Patreon as I find stuff, so you can kind of stay up on that stuff too. But there's all kinds of stuff on there.
So did Trump know? Of course. I think all presidents know. I mean, Eisenhower knew, JFK knew. They all know. That's part of the packet of secret documents that they get. What do you think?
Every day
Yep.
they get the blue book, or what's it called? There's some books that they're given every day.
Yeah, I forget.
The classified documents that they're given every morning or every day.
Intel briefings. Yeah.
Intel briefing that they get every morning to read through.
What do you think the point of Space Force was?
I think it's about cybersecurity.
Okay, that's sure. Supposedly, Space Force is taking control of satellites and most communications. That's been out there as of recently quite a bit. So, do you think was to defend against these space critters, these bugs, or
But
do you think
I
it's
also think there's a whole conversation that no one's having that we call aliens are, and Uncle Cliff talked about it a little bit, could be demons and angels, that it's
Sure.
just semantics of words, that
Sure.
it's our minds can't wrap around, and we're talking in different time, different points of timelines that, back in the time of Rome, they called them demons and angels. Now we're calling them aliens. They called them, they said they descended from clouds. Now we're calling them, space, UFOs or whatever, and trying to, because we understand flight and airplanes, is there a whole, and, Uncle Cliff talked about his father and his experience with the night vision goggles and how they used to have the red lenses. And because the red his father actually was given commendations through the military by having them rip the goggles off their head, because they were in flight and they were able to see these demons or angels outside the I can't remember if they're helicopters or planes.
I believe you said
And
helicopters in that story.
were they helicopters? Okay. And the gunner or whatever was like trying to shoot and almost shot their other, friendly flight people.
Sure.
And he went down and he like jerked the guy out. And he said the kid was like, heart racing out of his chest, eyes this big. And he was like, oh my gosh, he thought he was killing this thing that he described, which was like this demon or angel. And they were able to see them with these red lensed night vision goggles.
Sure.
And that's why all night vision goggles are now green, kind of like
Right.
your background. And they don't allow the red vision anymore. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about, and, do they really want us to know about, some people that I won't point out her name because I don't want to tell their story if they don't want to share their story, but I've had several people tell me that the way they came to believe in God was by experiencing or knowing that Satan was real or that demons were real. And that's how they came to know that Christ and God was real. Was when you see the evil, then oh my, that this alternative world is real and there is a God, because I saw the real evil stuff.
Sure.
And so of course they don't want us to see that, because they want us to be dumb.
Right.
And they don't want us to know the power that we are protected by God and that we are part of God, and how strong we are and who's really fighting for us.
That's how I came back to God. That was one of the first stories I told you when we
you are
first
one
started
of
the
those
show.
people. Yes.
That's why I came back to God. When you see the demons, when you can see the evil, you realize that there must be equal and opposites. And that's certainly how I came back to God. I was for years and years and years. I was like, I was so down on religion and what was going on in the church and how could this be a godly thing and
the
what's
legalism
wrong.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's certainly how I came back to God. And it's absolutely true. If you see the evil, then you have to understand that there's another side of it. Was certainly my experience. So those glasses.
Are we in a spiritual warfare for
100%.
the planet,
100%.
our country, the people, the spirits?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that that just gives me chills. Is that what's going on here? And when they use the words alien, is that to even distract people or get people to be turned off, to not have the conversation?
It's, that specifically.
To discredit.
Well, they've already painted the picture in American culture for 80 years now, 70 years now. They've already painted the picture of aliens. They're Martians from Mars. They came here to steal your soul, to suck you up, to probe you on a table. They've already gave us context and pretext of what an alien is. So it's a bad thing, or why even it's called an alien. Sure, aliens, fallen angels, they're in my book, they're all the same thing. But here's the thing. If you believe in the biblical version of what the earth is, a flat plane surrounded by a dome, as it says in the Bible, as it says in NASA documents, as it says with the flat earth map that's on Air Force One, if you believe that, and there is an impenetrable dome above us that separate the waters, then what can come in? What can come in? What can come through this dome? Nothing. So if nothing can come in, are these aliens, are they messing with words? Are they messing with are they using language against us again, calling them aliens from outer space, or alien then implies they're from a far off distant galaxy and they want to come hunt us? Or are they here already? What is an extraterrestrial? That's what they call them. ET. We've all seen the movie ET. What is an extraterrestrial? What does extraterrestrial mean? Extraterrestrial. Extra land, other lands. So is there our continents here that we know as Earth? There are many ancient maps, texts, documents citing we have the Earth that as we know it, with the continents inside, we have the ice wall around, but then there is extra land outside, extraterrestrial. So these beings are from the extraterrestrial, this extra land outside of the ice wall, outside of what we know. So are some inside the earth? Sure, there could be. I don't know. I'm more prone to the story that extraterrestrials are from the extra land outside of what we know to exist, outside of this ice wall. We've all heard stories of the ice wall. I certainly believe that there is an ice wall. I think it's been found. It's been documented. Admiral Byrd going back. Why is nobody else allowed in Antarctica? Why do you have to, if you somehow are one of these rare rich folk who get to visit Antarctica on an expedition, why would you have to have government minders, military minders with you at all time? So if you look at it kind of as the bigger picture like that, there's so much more to it. They've given us the story of what to believe. They've planted it for generations. My grandfather passed away before I was born. He's heard of extraterrestrials, aliens. What are they? They were bad people, bad things who were going to come down from space, right, and get you. And they were evil. But so were the fallen angels. So were the benevolent angels. They're all from somewhere. If you believe on this dome, this impenetrable dome around a flat plane, as the Bible says, again, as NASA describes a flat planed Earth, where are they coming from? I believe Uncle Cliff says that interdimensional beings are bullshit, basically. They're not interdimensionaling around from thing to thing. I that is how I understand it. But then what's up with CERN?
I was going to say, I don't think he says it on this.
Maybe not. I've heard him say. In fact, one of his recent Substacks or BitChute videos,
he's changed his mind.
Interdimensional stuff is hooey. But getting back to your night vision glasses that Uncle Cliff talked about. So there was a liquid. It was called dicyanin, and this was way back in the day, long time ago. And I think it was 50s, 60s, maybe 70s, somewhere around there. There was this liquid. It had a blue tint to it, and there was people and this scientist smushed some between some glass, and basically pressed it between two pieces of glass and looked. They called them aura glasses. You can see people's auras. You can see things. You can see things happen. It opens up a different spectrum of light, a different wavelength for that you can then see. Spectrums of energy, radio waves, X-rays. Just because you can't see it or feel it, radiation. Just because you can't see it or feel it doesn't mean it's not there. But now, what if you can see it? Everybody should look into dicyanin glasses. It's extremely, extremely interesting. Not the modern ones because they don't use the same.
Yeah, because
material.
I had asked him about, I sent him an email and asked him, is it possible to recreate the red night vision goggles like your dad had? And he said it's not.
So I'm not sure what the difference would be between the red ones and the blue ones, but you can buy this blue liquid. Everybody says, like, if you do a quick Google search on it, they'll say it's banned, you can't get it, it's not allowed, it's top secret, blah blah blah. But you can order it. It's not illegal. It's not wrong to have this. Okay. I don't know if this predates the red or is after the red, but when you put on these Aura glasses, supposedly you could see stuff on other that are on another wavelength, that are on another
frequency,
things you just can't see normally, and that stuff is very real. I watched a lot of videos on DICYANIN. Maybe do a quick search if you could look them up. You can find a lot of information about it. DICYANIN. Dicyanin. There's a lot of material out there on it. It's not even like hidden. It's there. It's not like woo-woo stuff. It says you want to buy some, you can order it.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can screen share this. Go to there, share this tab instead. Share tab, dicyanin. Application to photography, a stellar spectra, synthesis of photosynthesizing dyes.
That's the one.
Here's a .gov report.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. This stuff's real.
It says it used to be difficult to get, but something. Hold on, let's see.
I think they tried to put the kibosh on it for a while, and then they just kind of poo-pooed it and make it seem like it was crazy, and then nobody really cared about it anymore. But yeah, this is all over books. I don't know how this differs exactly from the red ones, and I don't know which predates which, but there are different ways. Humans have such a limited scope of vision. We see such little of the spectrum of light. We don't see ultraviolet. We don't see so many other spectrums of light that who knows? I mean, who knows? Something could be right there. You just can't see it. So can't see it. It's not there. But there is real stories. You can watch videos of people putting them on, putting the camera through them, and showing what they see. They call them.
It looks like.
Maybe if you want to look up Aura glasses. Now the problem with looking up Aura glasses is that there's newer versions of them that use a different synthetic liquid that's similar, but not exactly the same. So I would question how effective some of them would be. This is what I mentioned when we were on the text with Satoshi Shawn, and he had gotten a couple of these. This is what the movie They Live is based on, supposedly, where you put the glasses on, you see them.
Okay.
Rowdy Piper said this movie is a factual documentary. It's not fake. And then
that movie. So I've been watching. If you go to like Apple TV, and then go into movies, and it'll show the numbered movies, and it'll change like which one's 1, 13, 7, 17, whatever.
Right.
And they had like, after Juan Savin spoke the other day, they had like Casino Royale was like number 1 on there. And then it was 17. And then I don't know why they're saying something on this, thinking this is significant, but so they're showing that on blue. Interesting. So Aurora style glasses. See auras.
So
there,
another
showing some of that. Interesting.
Yep. You can supposedly see auras emanating off of people. Now, how can you see an aura? It's just a different spectrum. You can visualize a different spectrum of energy. So now, did you know, we all know Space Force, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the Navy, right? Did you know the Marines have one? Marine Corps Forces Space Command?
Yes, honey, we talked about it on my show on Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, did you? I missed that part. Break my balls.
I figure you only know about it because Sean probably sent it to you because we
Did he?
talked about it on Tuesday. I don't know. Or we
No.
talked about it in our chat. Like the
Maybe that was it. Maybe
weird timing that you're.
I want to seem cool and up on all the new stuff, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it was
Terrible
on our
big
show.
sister, just so you know.
I know,
So
I know,
mean
I
to
know.
me. Let me have my
am mean
moment
to
in the
you.
sun.
Sorry.
But yes, a lot of people, Jim Montgomery says Soul Rita sees them. Yes, a lot of people can see different spectrums. We're not all the same. We're not all identical. A lot of people are colorblind. A lot of people can't see very far. A lot of people can't read a book up close. Some people can see. Some people can sense these other energies around you. And strangely enough, most people who can see these things or have these senses, have these extra senses, are negative blood, are the negative blood types. It's an astoundingly higher percentage of people who can be in touch with these different realms and see and sense these different realms are of the negative blood.
Yeah, and 107 did a whole thing about that, about how they've been trying to search for.
That's the point of all your genetic
Yes.
testing websites.
Testing.
20, what is it, 23andMe and all these ones. So yeah,
Which we've been telling people that, like, they got you to pay for it yourself.
Just like something else.
Just like something
else, right? Just like something else that everyone's got.
Yeah.
Or so
and
many
they got you
have.
to pay for it yourself,
Yep.
which they used ego and pride, find out if you're related to a former, a king and a queen in the past life. And that's where I guess with me fostering and adopting, we just don't put that much value into that because to us, that's not, your DNA does not make family, right. or who you're married to would never count,
Sure.
So to us, that doesn't matter. That's not a value that's not a family value.
I've seen one bit of value. You're absolutely right. I've seen one bit of value to those things where they've literally linked people who are so genetically similar that they call them brother and sister, a lost brother,
doppelganger
lost
kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, no, not even actual blood family, actually genetically related family who you didn't know there was. They're like, hey, you get your report back. I've never done it. I don't know, but I've heard you get your report back and it says, oh, so-and-so has such a similar genetic makeup to you that they might be related. And maybe they don't give the name, but they give a number and they give some way that you can eventually track down who some of these people are. There's been stories of children finding parents, realizing that the one who raised them is not actually one of their parents, and it's this person over here, or I didn't know I had a brother who was separated at birth, one of those stories. So there is some sort of,
I just have such a different outlook on that I believe that whole cosmic bus stop story that Westwood talks about, there's a reason even for those things. And I think about I have blood siblings that for whatever reasons we're just not that close. I feel closer to you as my brother than some of my blood siblings. And I believe that's part of this journey. You know what I mean? And I believe that is what was supposed to always happen. And I'm okay with that. I don't have anger, animosity about it, but I don't think my DNA makes somebody, we don't own people. And until we can stop thinking that we own people, even by DNA, you don't own someone, whether through a relationship, through DNA. And that's the dangerous thing. And that's part of the thing. They want you to think you do own somebody through DNA. And then, okay, so let's stamp them all. Let's microchip them. We can capture their DNA and prove you own them. And that's when you become a slave to that. And so you don't own people. You love people, and you build a relationship, and you earn that love and respect through a relationship. And that's where my brothers come from. That's where my sisters come from. That's where my family comes from. And so nobody owes me a relationship or owes me love or family or tribe,
Based on what family you were born into. 100%
right.
agree. 100%
Yeah.
agree. Same thing with me. I have you and Sean, even, who I've never even met Sean. I feel like I have a a closer bond with him than a lot of my family. There's certainly something to that, and it's amazing to think of. 5-6 years ago, I never would have thought that. Never in a million years. Like, this is my tribe, and we don't get along sometimes, and I haven't talked to this family member in so long. But it's like, if I don't get a text from you by lunchtime, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Is she okay?
Yeah. But we don't own each other. We just know that it's that true. And we were reading through so if you read through the Wyoming law of a Dow, one of the statements is that you're not beholden to, no one can force another Dow member to participate, or you can't hold them to any action or participation or whatever. And I was like, well, that's not very good. And it's like, no, that's truly decentralized. And when we can decentralize the world, decentralize love, get rid of this ownership of each other, get rid of this thought that that you owe somebody or somebody owes you, then we're all really truly free.
Yeah.
Then we get rid of animosity. We get rid of, being angry at each other, get rid of being, disappointed when the other person doesn't show up. That's when, and break the money, break all of it, the truly decentralized, like decentralized love, decentralized ownership, decentralize everything, because then you are truly free.
100%. Then you wind up spending more time and giving more of your energy to the people who are important to you.
There's no strings attached. Right. Everyone is just doing and giving and loving what they genuinely want to, without anything, without, there's no middlemen. We're not doing it to get a leg up, earn a favor, all that crap. Are you loving on me with your little bear?
I was cleaning my camera. I thought it was a little blurry, but look, this is my little gold bull.
I thought it was with a little stuffed animal.
It is. This is mine. The baby asked me to play with this. Daddy, can I play with your toy?
That's
this is mine.
Hilarious.
I got this early 2000s. It was one of my grandmothers. My grandmother collected these Beanie Babies, and I saw it, and I was like, Grandma, yoink.
That one's mine.
This is pretty cool. So I don't know. Gold bull with silver horns. I like it.
That's perfect.
Isn't it?
That's perfect. Yeah.
But that's
I like that one.
It's mine.
Well, I think that kind of goes right into that's a perfect way to wrap up kind of this episode. Like, whether it's aliens or whatever they're trying to distract us with, we know to have our assets in our own possession and be able to put our families first, because that's what we're really trying to protect, and to not let them distract us, So I think that's the smart thing to do, and keep us focused on family and positive things, right?
And what's really important, not because you have to. Absolutely. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. I appreciate all the things you've taught me over the years, for sure.
Likewise, 100%.
You're such a good little brother.
Thanks.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for watching in the chat too, and giving us all your great comments and feedback. That really helps us learn and grow together as a community. So be sure to give us a like, share this video, and leave us your comments in the description. We'll be back again next week for another Woo Woo Wednesday, and I'll be back tomorrow with Johnny Litecoin to see what Johnny's all fired up about this week. Take care. Bye.